Hello and welcome back to the YouTube channel for Catch. My name is Sam and I am the founder and lead coach here at Catch. Unshakable confidence is the key to getting everything that you want in life and dating. So on this channel, we talk about everything to do with confidence, mindset, and how to utilize that in all areas of life, but with a particular focus on dating. So in this video, or two-part video, we're going to be talking about what do confident people do? And this is a question that we get a lot, and we're going to approach it from two different angles. First is the true definition of confidence, which is inner confidence. So how much self-belief do you have? What's your self-image? How much self-worth do you have? How much do you value yourself? Because this is the real essence of what confidence is. And if you build that inner confidence, then outer confidence or external confidence and your behaviors will align naturally to that. And you'll also build your confidence a lot faster if you address it from the inside out. So this video is going to really focus on that. And the next video, we're going to look at external confidence, or your behaviors, or how you show up in the world if you are confident and have that inner confidence. And that's going to look different for everybody because we all have our own unique expression, but there are some common themes or some things to think about as you go on your confidence journey and are building building your inner confidence. Because when we're on that journey, building our inner confidence and showing up in a new way, sometimes it takes some practice or some conscious thought to show up in a new way for that to become your natural way of being. So we're going to look at it from both angles. Before we jump into the inner confidence aspect and what confident people do to nurture and develop their confidence and maintain their confidence over time, because it can be a practice, is just remind you that if you want to work with us in any way, all that information is in the description box below. And we are running a competition giveaway at the moment, because we're trying to build a movement around confidence. So something that's bigger than us, bigger than Catch and this channel and this business, by helping people support one another with their confidence. So all the information about how to enter that is in the description box below, and there's hundreds of pounds worth of prizes up for grabs. So what are the elements of internal or inner confidence, and what do confident people do to curate that? The first and most important is your self-belief. So if you Google what confident means, it means your self-belief, how much you believe in yourself and your ability to achieve, how much you believe in the world around you to give you what you want, and the people around you as well to support you on that journey and play a positive part. And linked to that is our self-image. So how do we see ourselves? And often our beliefs and our self-image are a direct reflection of one another. So when we say, I believe that I'm going to get that job, what we're saying is, I am good enough for that job. I see myself as good enough for that job. And the same with relationships. If we say, oh, you know, men are afraid of commitment, women only want money, what we're really saying is that how we see ourselves is we are the kind of person, you know, people don't commit to us, or people only want us for money. That's been our experience. So often those two go hand in hand. And what people with confidence do is they practice self-awareness, and they utilize that self-awareness to develop their belief and a positive self-image. So how do they do that? Well, they listen to their thoughts and their behaviors and their actions and observe those, and then use that as information. So for example, what are the things that you are frequently triggered by? What areas do you feel confident and don't tend to be nervous about and just believe that they're going to work out? And what things make you more nervous or anxious or doubtful and bring up insecurities or trigger you? Because those things will tell you where you have confidence or not, and it's the areas that trigger you, or you're more fearful or doubtful or play on your mind more, in a negative way, or you feel like you need to control, that are the areas of less confidence. And what confident people will do, or people who are building their confidence, is they will use that self-awareness, so observing their thoughts through meditation or journaling, etc., to figure out where do they have a lack of self-belief, where do they have a negative self-image, such as, I am not good enough for X experience or person, and then reaffirm those beliefs. So build those beliefs and that self-image. So start to normalize that experience, normalize having that job, normalize having that relationship, and continue to tell themselves, I am good enough for that job, I am good enough for that person, I am worthy, I am valuable, until they build that belief. And that's the most important thing. If you just do one thing from this video, take that. So observe yourself, observe your actions and your behaviors and your inner thoughts, and build your beliefs and self-image. So whatever it is you want, start to believe that you can have it, and do that consciously. The second thing that confident people do is they understand their values and they live by their values. And why is that helpful? Well, firstly, by understanding your values, you know better who you are and what you stand for. And by understanding your values and living by them, you can become self-validated. So what do we mean? Values are things that we think are important in our lives and that we value within ourselves and others. And that can be a whole host of things, because people have different values, but some examples are family and prioritizing family over other things, adventure and spontaneity and prioritizing that over other things, or the flip side might be, planning and structure and routine. It might be honesty and being direct with somebody about what it is that you want. It might be helping others or charity. It might be having children. It might be travel. What are those things that you value? And how can you live your life in a way that prioritizes those and embody those? And it also can be characteristics as well. So I mentioned honesty, but to give more examples, it can be things like kindness, being caring, or providing for others in, family, romantic partners, financially, or being financially secure, for example. And whether we know it or not, we live a lot of our life by those values. That's how we often prioritize our time, prioritize our energy, and the things that we judge within ourselves and in others. And it doesn't mean that any are right or wrong or better than others, it's just how we see the world. But by spending some time understanding what our values are and being deliberate about the values we want to live by, once we start living like that, it releases this need to be approved by others, because we know that we're living in a way that we can be proud of. And often when we say to people, look, confident people don't care what other people think, they validate themselves, that can be a confusing concept for people, because I think there's a part of everyone that wants some approval from others and wants to be accepted. We are tribal by nature, we live in communities, so there's always a small element of that. But the people that really don't care what others think are self-validated, and they do that because they live life in a way that makes them happy on a day-to-day basis, but also meets these values. So spend some time again with that self-awareness, observing yourself, what you prioritize, what you really look for in others and appreciate or value in others and in yourself, and what things irritate you, because that will tell you what might be butting up against your values. So for example, if someone is frequently late and that irritates you, that's probably because you have a value around respect and you associate respect with people being on time. So spend some time thinking about that, write down what your values are, and then think about, well, how would I live my life and show up day to day if I was prioritizing these, say, top 5 or 6 things? And the more that you do that and consciously try and detach from others' approval and validation, the better you're going to feel and the more confident you'll feel in your decisions, regardless what other people think. The third thing is trust. So confident people trust themselves, and a big part of confidence and having that self-belief is trusting that you'll figure things out. Maybe not right now, but you will at some point in the future, and you'll get what you want. And when we trust that we'll get what we want, and we trust in ourselves, the implicit part of that is that we trust others, because there's very few things in life, I don't think there's anything in life that we can achieve completely independently. Even creating a business, a career, depends on others to support us, advise us, work for us, customers to buy our products. We don't do anything alone. So by trusting ourselves and our ability to handle situations and our ability to get what we want, we're also trusting others. And so that is something that confident people continue to develop, that self-trust and belief. And often that looks like calmness, by the way. So if you're trying to figure out how confident am I, or how much do I trust myself or this situation, you can judge that by how much you're worried about it or overthinking, or it's playing on your mind versus not. If you can detach from it and leave it alone, that means that you trust that it's going to be okay. If you're overthinking a lot about it, going back and forth, not sure what to do, that usually means there's a lack of trust or a lack of self-belief somewhere. And going back to that self-awareness point, that's worth reflecting on. And linked very closely to trust is assuming the best in people. So even if we don't hear back from someone for a few days who we're interested in, or hear back from a job opportunity, it's looking at that, and rather than going, oh my God, they can't be interested in me, I haven't got it, what did I do wrong? Chasing, looking at everything and panicking, it's going, no, look, I'm sure they're busy, or they're processing something, and then they'll be in touch because I'm good enough for that person, we had a great connection, or I'm good enough for that job, and therefore it must just be they're going through the applications. And again, the amount of calmness or overthinking or panic that we have is a really good indicator how confident we feel about that. And if not, there's a belief or something within how we see ourselves that we need to work on. Again, another indicator that you have a high level of trust and assume the best is how you interpret other people's behaviour. And we talked about this before, as in previous videos, as not taking things personally. So for example, if you see a friend walking towards you on the street, but then all of a sudden they cross the road and they don't say hello to you, if you're feeling confident, you will see that and think, oh, they must have just not seen me, they were going to a shop over there, not a big deal. If you're not feeling confident, then how you will interpret that is something quite personal, like, oh, they saw me, they didn't want to interact, so they crossed the road to get away from me. And the behaviour that we're observing from that other person crossing the road is exactly the same in both scenarios, but how the person is interpreting it is completely different in each scenario, and that is directly linked to how they see themselves and their relationship with that person, how much they trust themselves and the other person, and therefore how they perceive it. So people who are confident trust themselves and others, they assume the best, and they therefore don't take things personally. So that's something else that indicates, that is a good way to indicate through your self-awareness where you need to build your confidence. How do you interpret things? And where do you interpret things positively, and where do you interpret things negatively? Because it's the areas we're less confident that we will perceive things in a more negative light and quicker. The fourth thing that confident people do is they put themselves first, and they take care of themselves physically, mentally, and emotionally. And again, self-awareness is the key to this, because if you're assessing how you feel on a day-to-day basis and throughout the day, and where your emotions are, then that gives you the information to know, okay, I'm enjoying this, I should do more of it and put my energy here. And that includes, a job, a dating situation, a friendship, or I don't feel good about this, maybe I shouldn't put my energy there, or what is it that's making me not feel good about this? Am I not enjoying the treatment that I'm receiving? Am I not enjoying how I feel? Is it something new and uncomfortable that I need to work on? Do I not feel confident in this area? Or it might just be that our natural emotions have gone up and down throughout the day, and this is, especially true for people with different hormonal changes, and therefore when they're feeling low, confident people will recognize that quickly and give themselves what they need to feel better, whether that's feeling into the emotion, addressing the issue head on and figuring out how to move forward rather than avoiding it, or whether that's nourishing themselves in some way, doing exercise, seeing friends, meditating, etc., or emotionally regulating. So confident people will do what they need to keep themselves feeling good, and they'll prioritize that and themselves where they need to over other people. And that enables them to then show up as the best version of themselves in different situations, and to support other people more because they're filling their own cup before overgiving to other people. The other thing to mention that I've noticed, having worked with a lot of senior leaders and coaching a lot of people, is that those who are the most calm, collected, and their emotions are regulated and they're calm most of the time, and that includes anger, by the way, because a lot of people seem to think that anger is not an emotion, and it is. So if you're frequently angry, frustrated, feel trapped, that is an indication that you're not emotionally stable and you need to regulate with meditation or breath work, etc. But one of the things I've noticed is the people who are the most confident and calm and grounded often have an exercise practice. And we did a video recently called Your Very First Step on Your Confidence Journey. And we talked about a routine that you can put in place to develop your confidence. And a key pillar of that, alongside emotional regulation, is exercise. And most very successful leaders or senior leaders and CEOs who we've worked with don't just exercise, but they have an exercise routine that they're very diligent about. And it often involves long distance training of some regard, whether that's walking or running or cycling, swimming, etc. And often what they say is that not only does it make them feel better physically, but that time exercising enables them to reflect on situations, be more conscious, be more deliberate, assess situations head on, look at all the relevant data, and then reflect, let their inner wisdom work, and then decide how to move forward. And it allows them to work through any fear or doubt. Exercise is also shown to boost those happy hormones, boost those endorphins, but also build our confidence over time because we're proud of our achievements on a regular basis, but also progressing in that area. So that can look different for everyone. It doesn't have to be something long distance. It's just something very interesting about those who are most successful in a work aspect. And a lot of people who are CEOs, yes, there might be characters within there, but they all have this relentless self-belief, and a part of that is frequent exercise. So something to consider as part of looking after yourself as a whole. The next thing that confident people do is they take risks. And this is something that comes more naturally as you build your confidence, because if you believe that you can achieve the outcome that you want, then taking risks feels less scary, and it just feels like a normal part of the process of achieving what you want. And what we also notice about confident people is once they've taken the risk or started on a journey, they're very persistent. So it might take them years to achieve the goal that they want, but they keep that vision in mind. They know that that vision and that outcome is achievable for them. And whatever comes up in the way, they still persist with it, find a way to overcome it. They learn and grow more until they achieve what it is that they want. And you can see this in all areas of life. So most entrepreneurs who are successful have had some failed businesses in the past, or they've had big failures in jobs that they've learned from. There's people who are in long-term relationships who have had issues in the past and been able to overcome them, especially if you're with someone for 20, 30, 40 years, you have to overcome some issues. or maybe you've, had issues in previous relationships and you've learned from them. So confident people take the risks, and then they almost assume that there's going to be challenges, but they don't let that deter them, and they trust themselves enough to overcome them and learn and grow as much as they need to achieve that. And as a side note, what I've noticed about a lot of successful people in any area of life is they deal with the issues head on. So if an issue pops up, whether that's with a friendship, with a relationship, with work, rather than avoid it, they will observe it, try and figure out what's going on, gather as much information as possible, spend some time reflecting, so come back to calm and centered and spend a few days thinking on it, and then decide how to move forward and do that from a calm and balanced place. So if you notice yourself really anxious about something or avoiding it, give yourself some time for those emotions to settle, do some meditation or breath work or some sort of emotional regulation exercise, and then drop it for a couple of days, let yourself reflect on it, and the answer should come to you. But if you're avoiding it, then there's something in your confidence that you need to work on. And this was something I did early in my career. I used to go after opportunities or stand up for myself in some way, and then when the email came back letting me know whether I'd been successful or not, or a response to a new idea or a challenge, I maybe not opened that email for days. And that's something as I've got older that I've realised, look, it doesn't change what's in the email, so just face it head on. And sometimes you just have to force yourself to overcome these things. And that's where, again, self-awareness comes in, because you can see those things in yourself and then realise some of those behaviours that aren't confident and aren't working for you, and start to change them. And the final thing, if you do the first 5 that we talked about, so practicing self-awareness and building your belief and self-image, understanding your values and living by them, trust and assuming the best, putting yourself first and looking after yourself, taking risks and persisting through challenges, then what you often find at the end of it is that you really don't care what other people think, because you're doing the things that make you feel good, you're feeling confident within yourself, you are living by your own values, you're going after the outcomes that you want in life, you believe you can have them. Why would you have enough energy to care what other people think, seek their approval, argue with people or bother yourself with things that other people have going on? You'd be so enveloped in your own life that you wouldn't care about those things. And that in itself is really magnetic. Like when we meet someone who is just themselves, and even though they might have geeky interests or interests that are not as cool for society, or, maybe they don't even earn money and they live out of a van or whatever it might be. When someone is just that happy and enjoying themselves and playful and in the moment and going after their purpose, and they don't care what other people think, that's so magnetic. So that's a really good indicator as to how confident you're feeling, and also something to consciously work on if you aren't already. So I hope that helped in terms of what do confident people do to develop and maintain their inner confidence. As mentioned, up next we'll do another video on external confidence. So what are the behaviours, or how do confident people show up? And as a little preview, a lot of people think external confidence is being the loudest in the room, being the one dominating the conversation, etc. We're not talking about that. We're talking about behaviours or behavioural themes that are common across people that may look slightly different because we're all unique. So I hope that was helpful. Would love to hear any of your questions or comments in the comments below. Thank you for liking, sharing, commenting and subscribing, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks, bye.